There we go. All right,
Got
my
it.
friends, welcome to Lean and Clean with Fitness Chef Christine. I am Christine, your host, and I am so thrilled with our guest Lewis today. So he is the owner and founder of New Dynamo You, and I
Mhm.
am going to let him explain exactly how that came to be. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background and how you came into the fitness world, and we'll just go from there.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll try to keep it brief, but I'll go back from
No,
the
you just
beginning.
tell it like it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally, my family were from El Salvador, and due to political reasons and civil war and things like that, we moved actually to Canada. So my parents came here and they didn't really know the language, they didn't know the culture, but it was until I got into school that I started to really integrate. And I have two brothers that were also born in Canada, but my sister was born in El Salvador. So yeah, it was from there that this kind of um, I eat one type of food at home and I eat one type of food at school kind of thing. So there was always this kind of, I'm not really from El Salvador per se, but culturally speaking, it's different at home. So I've always been trying to find this underlying identity. Where
Right.
is it that I'm actually from? And I think that a lot of people can relate to that because if you feel different or if you're actually from another country or you speak another language, there's always this sense of my reality is how do I perceive and how do I act and how do you're constantly learning because you have this dual identity. And I think through all of that, I've always been trying to find a place where I feel most comfortable, where who am I kind of questions. It's not something that I asked myself when I was 13 years old, but it was something that I felt, and it wasn't until later that I realized that this is something that I've always been searching. So I was able to travel, study, and work abroad, and putting all these experiences together has led me to uh, putting together this business. So that's just like the long story short.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. I love how you
yeah,
blended all your cultural backgrounds in that. That's awesome. So do you still live in Canada?
yes, because of COVID and things like that, came back and then tried to really see my family regularly as much as I can. So I'm back in Montreal currently.
So cold.
So yes. It is. It's snowing quite a bit, so winter's officially here.
So tell me, how did you get started using the Dynamo bands? Did you invent them? Did you find them and love them? What happened?
Yeah, right now, currently, I'm actually taking a side step because I'm really trying to connect with people in my community. So I'm really focusing on that at the moment. But one of the things that helped me, because just previously, actually worked at a bank for a couple of years. And the reason why, because I didn't really understand money. So I figured I'd work at a bank and really understand how the insides of it. But what I realized is that when I started this business, that my knowledge of money and what it actually means, and it's not just paper, there's energy behind it. It's actually quite complex and simple at the same time. But when I realized that even at the bank, I had learned what I needed to learn, and actually having your business, it provides like a full spectrum of what actually business management meant. I said that was good enough. Thank you very much. Yeah. And then I'm trying to do this full time. One thing that helped me, one thing I was trying to solve actually is the idea of working 9 to 5, because being in that world, you really don't have a lot of time to
Right.
after work, do exercise, eat well, sleep well, and not sit in front of the TV, for example, do your hobbies. It's difficult.
Yes.
So for myself, for example, I used to go to a gym, and then I realized just even going to the gym is difficult because it takes time. Sometimes it's not close. I don't have a car. So I'm like, hold on a minute. How can we actually do something here? And one of the things that I found really interesting with straps actually is that they use compound movements and functional exercises. So what
Love
does that
that.
mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, it actually uses, because I actually do martial arts and I really value using body weight and actually controlling certain muscle groups and having that mind-body connection. And then you can go to the gym, for example. So I really valued any type of technology or fitness tool that allowed that type of integration. And what I liked about straps is that you can take them
They're
at
very,
home. You
yeah,
can take
they're very
it anywhere that
portable.
you exactly. They're very portable, they're very light, they're very easy to use, and they incorporate certain exercises that mimic real life activities. So that was something that was really drawn to. I got in conversation with manufacturers and I really liked the idea of it. So now what I'm trying to do is trying to bring this to the market through New Dynamo U, allow the idea of being able to do exercise whenever you want, how you want it, and to really be able to understand the why certain exercises are being done. Because going to the gym is very easy, especially let's say for myself when I first started, I just started doing exercises, not really understanding why. And I think once you get that piece of information, everything just makes much more sense, and you have that goal that you can actually look forward to and understand why you're doing particular exercises and how it relates to your lifestyle. So that was something that I'm discovering.
What I love about them is they're not age restrictive. Anybody can do them at any age. You can do them if you're young, you can do them if
Mhm.
you're old. It's particularly good for menopausal women, which is my jam, because we get these menopausal locked up shoulders,
Okay.
and having that tension and
Yeah.
having dynamic movement helps so much to relieve that pressure. I spent almost a
Mhm.
year trying to rehab my shoulder because when your estrogen drops, your shoulders lock up. I didn't know that before. And I
I
thought
didn't know that either.
I thought I injured myself. So I took it
Oh,
easy. Then I met with a functional doctor who told me, no, keep exercising it. And they
wow.
recommended using bands. They recommended using TRX and that type of movement because
Yeah.
it pulls enough of the muscle that it starts to release that pressure. So
Yeah.
what you're doing is amazing. It's amazing. Like,
Absolutely.
and having a solution, I used to teach a class on just little stretchy bands because it's something that you can throw in your purse and take it with you. But this option offers a little bit more. You can do it anywhere. You can do
Hmm.
an anchor point, and I like the fact that you can do all the functional exercises with it. I watched
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
videos and watched how you did it, and I really am a fan. I think it's really cool. And no, my question for you though is, can you actually build muscle? Because with age, we start to lose our muscle tone. And so
Hmm.
all my lady friends are interested in keeping that muscle tone up without bulking up. Although I tell them we don't have the testosterone to build up that muscle. Have you found people have been able to build muscle using the bands or just be functionally stronger?
So that's a really good question because there's two components, and this is something that I've learned through experience and also now being able to speak with experts, is that when you go to the gym, for example, you think you're building strength,
Mhm.
and from in one perspective you are, but if you go to the gym and you do constant overload, what you're doing is you're actually building muscle mass.
Right.
That's great. And that you can see, you can feel your swollen. It's great. I like feeling tension. But true strength actually relies on three components. It's based on mobility, flexibility, and stability. So if
Yes.
you go to the exactly, so if you do certain exercises, but you're not integrating mobility, like the way your joints are supposed to move, then you're not actually gaining true strength. You might be strong in a particular range of motion, but if you're not able to mimic how your body actually moves, then it's just an illusion and you could actually harm yourself because as time goes on, you lose that flexibility.
Right.
If you look at a child, they accidentally do cartwheels and backflips, and you wonder how they do it, and they recover really quickly.
Yep.
But as we age, we don't have that. So if you're not paying attention to that, then you're actually not gaining strength. So it's
Right.
counterintuitive, actually.
I have a funny story about that real quick. I'll tell you. So I have a 3-year-old
Please.
grandson and I was doing yoga and he comes right over, drops in a malasana squat, just makes it look so easy. I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
man, if we just kept the flexibility we had as a baby, we would
Hmm.
be so much better off.
Absolutely.
But I always tell people if you don't use it, you lose it. So
Yeah.
it's important that
Hmm.
it's important to work that flexibility. It's important to work on endurance and strength and all of it. So and mobility, because my goal for all of my listeners is that when we get to 90 years old or higher, that we're still
That's
able
it.
to hang out of a chair, no
Yeah.
walker, no cane,
Yeah. Yeah.
mobile. I love that that's what you do. What's in the future for your brand? What do you hope to accomplish with it?
So despite going into fitness at the moment, my underlying true kind of objective is to, and this is a reflection of my life, is I'm trying to actually, through experiences and understanding that I have choice and decision and responsibility for my own life, I've realized that I can actually choose and design the type of life that I want, which means first taking care of my body, realizing that I want to live to 100 years old, and that's a choice and a decision. And how do I do that? I integrate certain exercises that, for example, that's why I like functional exercise, that it mimics real life scenarios. And if I continue to do so and work on my mobility and flexibility and compare myself to my niece and nephews who are a quarter of my age and keep up with them,
Right.
then for me, that's a conscious decision that I'm making. So that's the physical portion. Now, I want to challenge myself on the emotional and mental and even spiritual level
And nutrition. Don't forget
and
nutrition
nutrition. Absolutely. And they're paired together. Fitness really,
for sure.
once you start doing exercise, you're like, huh, I want to just it overflows into another cup and you start thinking about sleep, you think about nutrition, you talk about stress, you think about all of these different components.
It affects your whole life. It really
Yeah,
affects your whole life. When you start taking your physical well-being to that next level, I think it affects how you view your whole life. That
yeah.
dedication that you have to yourself and your journey expands to everybody. So
Mhm.
I think that it's all integrated. And I do think you're right. We talk all the time in my podcast about how important sleep is. It's so underrated. You just can't function well without that
No.
much sleep. And when you
Yeah,
don't have it, your body just craves all that junk food.
yeah,
It all works together. You
exactly.
treat your body as if it's all so important. So I want you to help me tell our listeners how they can get a hold of your straps. Number one, we can put it in the show notes, a link,
Yeah, absolutely.
and get support because I know you have a Facebook group that everybody's
Yeah,
working out. And
absolutely.
yeah, so just give us some more information.
Yeah, please. And actually, just to continue with the previous point and
Sorry.
where I'm drawing, no, no, great. It's just it's coming to mind now, and where I'm drawing the connections is because for me, feeling and why sleep is so important because when I wake up in the morning, I just feel energetic. And I really understood that energy for me is something that if you can understand that better, then it allows you to feel, for example, enthusiastic. And that's not on the physical part. Being able to do exercise and eat well and sleep well and have minimal stress gives you that energy and go into that flow, but that allows you to actually manifest it in different areas of your life. And that's where enthusiasm, curiosity, joy, and how far are they linked? They're all interconnected. So if you look at from that perspective, it overflows into other aspects and it just creates this positive feedback where you have this kind of untapped, unlimited energy, and you're like, oh my God. And it just
It's
makes
true.
it happen. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I used to work, you were talking about working at the bank. I used to own a bakery and I would work bazillion hours with no focus on any kind of exercise other than lifting 50-pound bags of flour all the time. But I
Right.
really didn't have a life. I didn't sleep well. I didn't eat well. I didn't drink water. It was so crazy. And because of that, I was just on this continual running. I
Yeah.
didn't wake up with energy. I woke up feeling so tired that I just had to push myself. Now I work out first thing in the morning while
Mm,
have the energy to do it because if the day goes along, I'll find something else to fill it.
yeah.
And this is where I think the straps really come in handy because you can throw them in the thing. And if you've got a few minutes here and there, you can get in some sets and reps
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
move along. But for me, if I don't get it done first thing in the morning, the chances of me doing it get slimmer and slimmer as the day goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
filled
Absolutely.
with that energy to start the day with movement, whether it's
Yeah.
stretching, yoga, weights, whatever it is. And I do it all because I love it all. It really sets you up for a fantastic day.
Yeah.
It keeps that
Absolutely.
positive mindset working. It's endorphins start going crazy and it's just
Hmm.
fabulous.
Yeah, it is. And now to get into the Facebook group, that's actually the premise of the group. It's actually to promote and bring it to people's attention that 30 minutes of movement per day
So
is
doable.
it's doable, and it's important because biologically and physiologically speaking, we are meant to move. We're not meant to
Yes.
be sitting down. A chair in of itself, or the toilet, for example, these are inventions that have been spanning the last couple hundred years. So if we look at how our bodies are built, we're meant to be in certain positions and actually have certain range of motions when we do certain activities. And being able to tap into that is really important in order for you to, let's say, want to reach an older age and actually be able to do things well and effortlessly.
Right.
And that's the idea behind the Facebook group, which is called Dynamo You. Go to dynamoyou.com and you can find a fully engaged group that is just loving it. And we do lives, if not once, twice a week. And last week we had actually, I invited members to hop on, and it was like a free for all. We were
Love
just
it.
jumping on and talking. It was really fun. And it's just great to see so many people engaged and really loving that aspect. And here's another thing. When we started the Facebook group, which was back in December, everyone was really enthusiastic and really wanting to participate. But there comes a time where you realize that, oh, he wants me to do 30 minutes of movement every day for the rest of my life. This just got difficult and it becomes a mind game.
Yes.
So I think at the beginning to get started, it can be difficult, but to maintain that, you really have to change. There must be a chip change in your mind
It has
where
to become a
it's
habit. It really has to become part of your life,
yeah,
like brushing your teeth, where you
yeah,
just can't live without it. You really need that every day, just to build it as a part of your lifestyle.
yeah, yeah,
I think when people purchase them, you have some kind of a workout program for them, right? That you show them what they need to do with that, with the
yeah.
well, then that makes it a no-brainer, because if you purchase them and you have a guide to go along and you have a group support and you have accountability,
Hmm.
well,
Yeah.
that's a winning combination.
Yeah, so let me explain what I'm putting together is the straps that are actually on pre-launch. The inventory hasn't been sent over yet. So if you actually go on the pre-launch list, what you'll get is there's a course, actually finishing up one course, which is on discipline. And this is from my personal experience and through research. So I put that together, and that'll be offered as a bonus. And then there's the other course that I actually worked with a fitness coach that we put together that's currently still under construction. And it's how to use the straps, for example. There's exercises, there's examples, and it dives a little bit into the why, functional exercises, why that's important. And there's a little bit of nutrition in there just to touch it because it's all important. They're all really
Yeah, right?
interconnected.
It
Yeah.
is.
So you'll get that for free as well. And then for those who do purchase, in the meantime, I'm offering to work with people one-on-one through a Zoom call so that we can actually start getting exercise, get that habit going, and then once the straps come in, then that'll be available to you. But of course, we are still connected through that. So there's a couple bonuses that I'm offering there to incentivize people, but it is an idea of once you get the straps, there's guides and there's assistants hold you by the hand to help you actually be successful in doing this. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So this you can actually go to dynamostraps.com, which is my Shopify store, and it should all be there. So dynamostraps.com is where you can actually find more information. And then there's a pre-order page that I could actually send to you as well that
Thank
has just yeah, it has a bunch of information
you.
and then it breaks things down. That's going to be useful as well.
Perfect. I will share everything you send me. So send it all, because
Perfect.
this is what my passion is. Helping people get a healthy lifestyle going so that they can be mobile and feel great well into their 90s. I always
Yeah.
say it isn't about,
Oh, into the 90s. Yeah.
yeah, it isn't about wearing a bikini. It's about feeling strong, feeling
Yeah.
getting that movement, getting that mobility, getting that flexibility, and feeling confident that you're healthy and you're going to be great.
And I think it comes from also feeling healthy,
Hmm.
feeling strong. It really has that component to it because you could be the most fit person in the world and go through a breakup, for example, and feel terrible. And so that you have to have everything connected to it.
I know a lot of fitness professionals that are not healthy at all. Particularly
Wow.
ones that compete, they starve their bodies for the competition and then they have to get back to normal. Listen, there's a lot of
Mm.
unhealthy practices, I'll say, in fitness competitions and
Yeah.
in the fitness world. But my goal is always that we look at health first. We look at
Yeah.
health, not looking at how we look necessarily. We want our insides to be healthy
Yeah.
and our mental state to be healthy. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
that's what's
Absolutely.
gonna last.
Yeah, exactly. I think looking at it from that lens is much, it's better because looking uh, healthy could be like a symptom of what you're feeling from the inside. So it's not necessarily looking from the outside in, it's from the inside out. But again, I'm just repeating what everyone
Yeah,
knows.
I like it. I like it. It's no, it's good to be reminded of these things. And I know
Yeah.
that you said you did martial arts, and I think martial arts is fantastic for creating discipline. And we're not always
Oh,
motivated. Sometimes we just have to be disciplined. Not, there are
yeah.
days where I don't feel like working out, but I know
Yeah.
that if I don't, then my mental health that day is not going to be what it should be.
Yeah.
Because I'll be thinking
Hmm.
about the fact that I didn't accomplish that and that I didn't
Hmm.
get going.
Yeah.
Now, I allow for a rest day every now and again because your body does need to recover.
Yeah.
But if you're doing 30 minutes a day, it's not like you're doing hours in the gym of heavy lifting. So there's
Exactly.
not much recovery time in my experience. Your body knows how to work with that. So even more
Yeah.
to do it.
And I think you don't need to go get exercise for 2 hours. You don't need to do ab trainings for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. No, it's if you do, I personally do a kind of little ab routine, 7 minutes, quick, easy out, but I
Right.
try to do it 5 days a week. So
Makes a
that's
difference.
the trick. And I think looking at it from that perspective, taking small steps. Oh, I want to do 30 minutes. Didn't do it today, not the end of the world, but try to stay consistent. And I think 30 minutes is out of 24 hours a day, it really gives you, it's a doable, it's
Absolutely.
attainable.
I also think that like maybe you don't have 30 minutes at a time, but you could do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes at night. People forget you can break things down. You don't have to
Yeah,
sit there one whole block of time. If
yeah,
you're crazy busy, make
yeah,
time for yourself in between. It'll truly help your mental state.
yeah.
It'll calm your nervous system down and you won't feel so freaked out by everything.
And I'm glad that you mentioned it earlier as well, that there are times where I'm just not in the mood in the morning. Okay. And then naturally, because I know my body's okay, we missed it, but I need it now. So I'll sit, I've got a couple weights here and I'll just do some exercises for 5, 10 minutes. And once I get that going, I say, okay, let me do legs now. And I'll do another. And then I'll get back to what I'm doing if I'm busy. But yeah, you can definitely break things down. And as it's just important getting that movement throughout your day.
Something is better than nothing. That's what I always say.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then if you do it most of the time it compounds. So you
Yes.
win.
Builds, it does. And it's like that. I think it's like that nutritionally too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You start out a healthy meal, it goes that direction. If you start out saying screw it and you eat something crappy in the morning, then you give yourself more permission to do that all day long. I'm all about having a treat, but you got to keep
Yeah.
that discipline in place so that you're always moving forward in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I
And I
am
think it comes down to choices because when you make choices, you can say it brings it down to being present. Okay, I just ate something bad. And now I'm craving something that I want to eat. Either it's because I'm stressed or it's emotional or I'm actually hungry. I can then decide at that moment, do I want to continue doing what I did or do I now want to choose and eat something healthier? So I
right.
think you always have that choice.
Yeah, and it's good to recognize and to figure out where it's coming from. Is it just an emotional eating thing, or is it really, am I truly hungry, or does my what's my body telling me? And it's like that for exercise too. What's your body telling you? Like
Yeah,
you have to listen and be in tune with what's happening in your
absolutely.
body.
Yeah, absolutely.
It changes, let me tell you, my friend. After you hit mid-50s, you're like, ooh, what's happening in there? A crazy thing. You're far away from that, but I'm telling you, it's definitely a different animal. I'm like, okay, all right. my 20s, I could eat something, gain a few pounds, and I'll just work it off a couple days. You hit,
Yeah.
okay, it's not going anywhere. Something's going on.
You almost have to be in more in tune, actually. You have to listen.
Definitely do. You
Very
definitely have to
interesting.
know what's going on with your hormones, what's going on with your bod, and just really continue to tweak it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have loved what you shared with us. I can't wait for everybody to check it out. And I will put your Facebook group in the show notes, and we will
Perfect.
share the Shopify group and or
Yes.
the .com, and we'll get
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah, I'll send all of that information out to you.
awesome.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the time to, yeah, just chat about this.
Oh, thank you for taking the time to be with us. I appreciate it so much, and I wish you all the success. And I'm in your group, so I'll keep watching and keep active.
Perfect.
Thank.
Absolutely amazing.
Have a great day. And my friends, if you have loved this episode, I would appreciate if you would leave us 5 stars and a review, because that always helps us get the word out, which is so important because we're here to help you all. Have a blessed day. I pray for each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.